Okay, let's dive in. Picture this, right? You're a well-known public figure. You've just been granted release in a really high-profile case, and then, bam, the prosecution basically says, hold on, that doesn't count.
Exactly. It's a fascinating legal twist.
It really is. And that's what we're unpacking today, this significant legal dispute happening in Liberia. We're using insights from material titled Bond Dispute. Lawyers seek lawmakers' rearrest. Our mission, really, is to get to the heart of why this is happening. How can one document, like just a bond, become the absolute focus of a major court fight with serious consequences for everyone involved?
And the specific situation here is, well, it's quite something. We're talking about lawmakers, including the former Speaker Fonati Koffa, who were released in an arson case.
Right.
But almost instantly, that release was challenged. It just throws a spotlight on how critical, getting the procedures exactly right is in the justice system.
So, okay, they're released. But the government lawyers didn't wait around. What was their move? It sounds like it was pretty surprising.
Oh, it was immediate. They made a direct request asking the court to actually rearrest these lawmakers.
Rearrest them. Wow.
Yes. It's a bold move, directly questioning the legal foundation of their freedom at that moment.
Okay, this is the crucial part then. Why? What's the legal argument for demanding they go back to jail?
So the core argument is pretty specific. They're saying the bond, the document filed for their release, simply does not meet the legal requirements.
It doesn't meet the requirement.
That's their assertion. They're calling it invalid under Liberian law. And from their perspective, it should not have been accepted in the first place.
So just for context, a bond, what exactly are we talking about here?
All right, good point. So a bond is essentially a financial promise, a guarantee. It's put up to ensure a defendant shows up for court proceedings.
Okay.
If that bond isn't considered valid, maybe it's missing the right kind of collateral or lacks approval from the correct authority or doesn't meet specific monetary rules, then the whole legal basis for being released temporarily just sort of evaporates.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How the whole system can, pivot on what looks like paperwork.
Absolutely. Details matter immensely.
So what happens now? What's the immediate fallout from this challenge for the lawmakers?
Well, the prosecution isn't just flagging an error. They're actively pushing the court to revoke the release.
Revoke it entirely.
Yes, and order the lawmakers back to jail.
Yeah.
That is, until a bond that is considered proper and legally sufficient can be filed and formally approved.
So it's not just a minor hiccup.
Not at all. It really underscores the power of legal precision, how it directly impacts personal liberty. It shows that the foundation for release, for detention, it rests on strictly interpreting and enforcing these requirements.
Yeah.
And even one mistake, potentially, in that paperwork can have these massive real-world effects, especially when you're talking about such high-profile individuals.
And where does it stand right this minute?
Well, the source material says the whole issue is currently under review by the court.
So the court has the final say.
Exactly. The court holds the power here to decide if the bond is actually valid or if these lawmakers need to return to detention while the case moves forward.
Which kind of brings us back to a fundamental point, right?
Right? It does. It raises a really important question, I think, for anyone observing this. What does it truly mean for a legal document like a bond to be sufficient or valid in the eyes of the law? And, how does the court's interpretation in a case like this, high stakes, high profile, shape not just the course of justice for these individuals, but also our understanding of individual liberty?
Yeah, it really throws that intersection into sharp relief, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The technical legal points versus the very real, very human consequences. Definitely something to keep thinking about as this situation develops.